Rockstar was such a wonderful opportunity and the hardest work of my life. I didn't know who I was working with. I didn't know that they were famous. I
Mhm.
didn't know the caliber of the people I was working with. And
Yeah,
also learning about the culture of India made me feel like I was getting closer to a piece of myself, a piece of
yeah,
my DNA. And when it comes to media and journalism, a lot of people are not doing real things anymore. No offense to them, but they're
yeah,
just writing whatever they feel like, their
yeah,
opinion.
yeah.
And who are they? I mean, yeah, everyone has an opinion, but everyone also has an. So, like,
Correct. Yeah,
basically, your opinion
yeah,
doesn't matter. Many women think we could change people, but we cannot. Only can change yourself. Obviously, I've had other relationships that were ups and downs and rocky or weren't a good fit, but I learned so much from every relationship, which I'm very grateful. People are like, oh, if you leave now, you're going to be forgotten. But I left because I knew that my body and mind couldn't push anymore because I pushed so much. So now I want to be in charge of my life and I want to know that I can work and have a life like the work life balance.
Hi and welcome to midday.com Flashback with the Stars. Joining us today is someone who's quite the stunner. That's Nargis Fakhri. Hi.
Hi, what's up?
We'd like to start with your childhood. So we know you were born in the US and you have spoken about, the neighborhood wasn't exactly the safest. So I'm sure you experienced a lot of life as a child itself.
Definitely my childhood was different. Also, it was different because social media wasn't around. So that was
Yeah.
cool. So we were outside a lot and played with like rocks and sticks and climbed
Mhm.
trees.
Uh-huh.
So that was interesting and different.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't really know what to say. I grew up in a neighborhood that I guess you would have seen it on TV, like with
Yeah.
the typical, like not so nice neighborhoods
Yeah.
that you've seen in movies and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I'm not really like sure what or how to explain it.
And then, as we know, you started modeling at a really young age on one of the biggest TV shows in the world at 16. So, what was that like, suddenly getting into this big glamour world?
So I come from one of the toughest cities and one of the coolest cities and one of the cities that have the most opportunities.
Yeah.
So, I mean, personally, once I knew that I have these opportunities at my fingertips and I just actually have to make the choice
Hmm.
and figure out a plan on how to make things happen, that was the end of that. And got myself an agency, started modeling. Next thing you know, I wanted to travel. So I started traveling and modeling and living all over the world.
Hmm. And of course, we also know you had a dream debut. Like, I mean, most people would like to work with Imtiaz Ali and Ranbir Kapoor, of course. So, when
Yeah.
that suddenly, fell in your lap, and I'm sure it was quite a new challenge there as well.
Yeah. So getting that big debut was pretty crazy. And I mean, I don't know how many other stories you hear like that, but definitely like Imtiaz would call it Kismet all the
Hmm.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's even crazier that we shot in my mom's country because she's
Hmm.
European from
Hmm.
Former Czechoslovakia, Czech Republic now. And then my dad, was from Pakistan. So shooting in Kashmir and all northern India was as close as I could ever get to knowing that part of me,
Yeah.
which is also amazing. So my goal in life was not to be an actress, but my goal in life was more to experience life. And
Yeah.
then these magical things would happen to me, which sounds weird and kooky or like, oh, like how could it be magic? But I feel like it's magic. I don't know.
And was it something you discussed with friends and family? Like, were they equally surprised that you're making this big Bollywood debut after your modeling career?
I mean, of course, my friends are American or European, so they didn't know anything about Bollywood.
Yeah.
They were just, they thought it was funny that I was going to India to do a Bollywood movie.
Mm-hmm.
And then afterwards, when it came out, a few friends went to the movie theaters to see it and they were like, oh, wow, they're like, you did pretty well. And they were pretty impressed and they really loved the movie.
Yeah.
So that was it. I mean, all my friends know I'm like adventurous, like
Mm-hmm.
they know I love to travel. So for me to go to India wasn't like, oh, wow, because I lived in Singapore, Thailand, Germany, like
Mm-hmm.
so many different places. My life, I kept it interesting, I guess you could say.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I think travel teaches you what nothing else can, really.
Yeah, yeah. So for me,
Yeah.
that was my thing as a kid because my mom, she's European and
Mm-hmm.
Europeans travel a lot,
Yeah. Yeah.
and all through Europe. And even when they're young, they go backpacking everywhere.
Yeah.
So I think that was like instilled in me because my mom raised me, that I should experience the world. I need to see different
Mm-hmm.
places. There's,
Yeah.
and obviously we grew up in not the nicest neighborhood because she
Yeah.
was an immigrant. And unfortunately, my family story is not the nicest. We didn't end up in like a really good place.
Mm.
And it was like a place of disparity and poverty and stuff like that. But she always taught me that education and traveling are
Mm.
very important things to, to have for you. Um, Amongst many other things, she taught me that were very important, but
Yeah.
also to know that not to be afraid to see the world and travel the world. You never
Actually, you
know.
reminded me of my trip to East Europe. That was one of my biggest dreams. So when that happened, like I was like, okay, this is
Really? That's
yes,
so nice. And what
yeah,
a feeling you get, right? Like,
I love it.
yeah, like you feel the tingles in your body when you're in this new place exploring.
Yeah,
Like, I'm looking at Big Ben right now. I'm in London. So,
yeah.
and even though I've been in London and lived here as a model as well,
Hmm.
when I come here, I love it. It kind of feels so familiar now. Before it was like new and amazing. Now it's like home.
Yeah,
Like certain countries are home, and
yeah.
people that know me or and that don't travel as much, like, oh my God, you just fly on an airplane like it's a taxi cab. I'm like, I
Yeah.
know.
I was going to say that you went on to do different roles, right from household to Main Tera Hero to Madras Cafe, which is again quite a surprise that that you could pull off something like that because people did see you as this glamorous actress. So, how did that happen?
Yeah, Rockstar was such a wonderful opportunity, and don't get me wrong, it was like the hardest work of my life, but
Yeah.
because my perspective on life was that I am blessed to experience life.
Yeah.
Like, no matter if it's hard work or whatever it is, even all the emotions, I'm supposed to experience it and learn something from it. And so during Rockstar was very difficult. Like, imagine you're a baby, you just born, and then they're telling you to crawl and walk.
Hmm.
Like, a baby can't really do that. It's very difficult. It takes time. So that's what happened to me. I was thrown into something where I was supposed to know everything. And what an intense role to have, and what a big film. So I didn't think of those pressures at the time. I was happily spending 10 hours a day in a small cubicle with Vipa, who was my Hindi teacher. And oh my God, she had so much patience, to teach me the alphabet, to teach me words. I had to
Hmm.
memorize the whole entire script,
Hmm.
everybody's lines. I had to take the Hindi sentence, write it in Roman English, then translate each word and into English, and then write it into a sentence that my brain could understand, and
Hmm.
then make sure the sound of the Hindi line, that whatever the emotion is, I had to attach the emotion to the sound.
Yeah.
Girl, tell me who's doing that.
That
But
sounds crazy. Yes.
it's crazy. But with my heart and my soul, I did it only because I wanted to do something creative that was different. So I was very excited. I
Hmm.
didn't know who I was working with. I didn't know that they were famous. I
Hmm.
didn't know the caliber of the people I was working with.
Yeah.
I looked at life as a game or a journey to be enjoyed, even if it's so tough. Because to me, I'm like, oh, I'm learning a new culture. I'm learning a new language. This is so
Hmm.
amazing. I love it. But then after Rockstar, it was a whole nother story. It was like, wait a minute, what is this? What's happening here?
Yeah.
I think the fame part is a very weird thing to get used to.
Yeah.
And then the pressure of being famous and now having to keep up with such a big film. Like,
Hmm.
what's your next film? What are you going to do?
Hmm.
Like, I don't know. I just came here to like hang out. Like, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
So every year I was leaving. This year I'm leaving. This year I'm leaving.
Yeah.
But I never left because it was exciting and it was interesting. and acting was something new, and I love new challenges because I know I
Mm-hmm.
can grow from it. And
Yeah.
also learning about the culture of India made me feel like I was getting closer to a piece of myself, a piece of
Yeah.
my DNA. Um, I'm half European, I'm half South Asian, so like I grew up very American, so I wanted to know who I am. So I was
Mm.
very happy to be a part of Rockstar. And then yeah, Madras Cafe came along, and that was wonderful because it was an intense role.
Yeah.
I was very happy to research, the true events that happened, which it
Mm-hmm.
was based on. And I tell you, every night I would cry reading the stories, and like just humanity is crazy and the things that go on. I'm very sensitive,
Yeah.
but it was wonderful to be a part of that project. I thought it
Mm-hmm.
it had impact and it was meaningful. And then, of course, going on to other films like Houseful 3, which was
Yeah.
absolutely hilarious to
Yeah.
work on. Met Their Hero, wonderful to work on. So those are more light and fluffy films where you're
Mm-hmm.
just, you're just
Yeah.
that hot girl. But it's fun, and it's different, and it fulfills a different part of you. It's light and funny and airy and sweet. So I like that I got to experience so many different things. It's been great.
And from not wanting to act, you also had some big dance numbers. So right from Dating Nach to Yaar Na Mile, which people still go back and watch. So how did that
Yeah.
happen? Like, did it come naturally, or did you have to put a lot of effort to pull off all those steps?
Bollywood dancing is the movements are very different from like
Yeah,
American style dancing, like
absolutely.
we're twerking and moving our bodies differently. So when I had to do dance numbers, I was always so awkward because
Mm,
also the hands are different, the facial expressions are different, the movement is different. So it was kind of hard for
yeah,
me to switch what I already grew up with into
mm,
something that was so different. And there was no time to really rehearse. Like we don't get a lot of time to rehearse. So for me, I'm people like, oh, you're a great dancer, but it was very awkward and was very difficult. But
yeah.
I'm happy if people could say that I'm a great dancer because that means I did some good acting, you know?
Yeah, but dancing with Salman, which is, I'm sure, in itself very intimidating. Like he's one of the biggest superstars. So,
Yeah, I tell you this. This is the
yeah.
thing that people ask me all the time. I wasn't intimidated by anyone
Huh.
because they're a star,
Mm-hmm.
because I didn't grow up in India looking
Correct.
at them as a star. So to
Yeah.
me, they're regular people.
Mm-hmm.
And in America, I've hung out as a model, I've hung out with celebrities, and they're regular people and they talk
Yeah.
to you. And so you're used to, even if they're a star, they're people. So
Mm.
I don't get starstruck. That's the
Huh.
thing I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
And what I do love is when people are famous and they're so humble and sweet. That's really nice, or easy to work with. That's
Mm-hmm.
important. And
Mm-hmm.
obviously, yes, knowing that he's a humongous star is definitely an honor
Yeah.
to work next to him. I'd love to work more with him.
Mm.
I thought we looked amazing on screen. I don't know about you.
And of course, you also did a big film like Azhar. So what was that also? Because obviously there were huge expectations, and was that like the reviews and the fate a little disappointing for you?
So I didn't know what anyone reviewed on anything because I think after Rockstar, like my fans loved me. That's why I have
Yeah.
so many fans. But then the media ripped me to pieces. So I don't read media or the newspapers for many
Mm.
reasons because it doesn't make any sense because
Yeah.
everyone has their own opinion. And when it comes to media and journalism, a lot of people are not doing real things anymore. No offense to them, but they're
Yeah.
just writing whatever they feel like, their
Yeah.
opinion.
Yeah.
And who are they? I mean, yeah, everyone has an opinion, but everyone also has an. So, like,
Correct. Yeah.
basically, your opinion
Yeah.
doesn't matter. And what matters is the people who appreciate the work that I did. And I have 7.2 million people that love me
Mm.
for whatever reason
Yeah.
they love me. And I love
Absolutely.
them back because I know they support and they would go watch me and they want to see me. So I stopped reading about anything. So I have no idea what anybody wrote about anything.
Mm.
I do my best on every film with
Yeah.
what I'm given because obviously it takes a team, the director, people, there's so many other people that
Yeah.
also work with you.
Absolutely.
And sometimes, maybe things, I'm emotional. So if I don't have a good
Mm.
relationship with someone or it feels weird,
Yeah.
unfortunately, that could get in the way. actors are human. Of course, acting is the job, so you have to push that away. But, also using your emotions for characters is really important.
Mm.
Like I never took an acting class, but I remember Imtiaz had told me I'm a method actor, I think it
Mhm.
was. So I really feel everything I'm going through. And that's me in real life. I'm a very like feeling person. Like if we were together and you were going through a problem, and
Mm.
even if you didn't speak to me, I could feel your energy and I would start crying. And then I'd be like, why the hell am I crying? Because I don't have anything wrong,
Yeah.
but it's because you're sad. I could feel your sadness.
Mm.
It's a weird thing. Like, I
Yeah.
don't know, maybe women are more sensitive like that, or some
Yeah.
people have this ability to sense other people's emotions. Yeah, like
Mm.
sometimes I'll walk into a room and I'm like, oh, what is this feeling? It feels so bad. But it's
Yeah.
not my feeling, it's like other people's feelings.
And
Yeah.
also at a time when you were getting these big offers, like you said, you were busy traveling. So, was that a tough decision to take? Because obviously you were being, offered all these big films, and it's not easy to kind of just, move away and travel.
So I didn't travel for like 8 years.
Mm.
That's actually why I ended up having to leave and take a break, because for all those years I was getting so much work and so many offers
Mm.
that it's like if I left, people are like, oh, if you leave now, you're going to be forgotten.
Yeah.
Like you can't leave now. You're at the peak. You just did 4 films. Like I remember
Correct.
Buzzer came out, Houseful came out, some other dance thing came out. Like so many things were coming out, and I
Mm.
actually had left.
Mm.
But I left because I knew that my body and mind couldn't push anymore because I pushed so much with no time with family, no time with friends, no time off to really like balance and center yourself, which everybody needs to do. So I had to take the time off because I worked so much and I didn't get to travel. I
Mm.
didn't get to do what Nargis loves to do.
Yeah.
Even though I love the acting, I also love many other things. I have so many hobbies. I have so many different interests that I like to explore, but I do love acting as well.
Yeah.
But at that time, it was just so much.
Mm.
And now coming back, because I'm back, I know that I can't take every film. Even if they're all amazing, I can't say yes to 4 films. I have 4 films now that are pretty amazing, but I said, okay, I like 2 of them. So
Mm.
let's see about the 2. Even though I like all 4, 2 are more of a favorite. Maybe I can do 2. So now I want to be in charge of my life, and I want to know that I can work and have a life, like the work life balance. So then I don't have to go away. So then I say, "Oh, I'm good because I love my work and I love my life, and everything is at a
Mm.
balance where I don't need a vacation. I'm happy."
Over the years, how has your idea of love and romance changed? Because I'm sure as we grow up, it just changes. Our expectations change. All of us, it happens to us. All of
Did
us.
you see my face? I was like, yes, you're absolutely right. I don't know how old you are, and I don't want to say how old I am because I feel 21 forever.
Absolutely, and you do look 21 as
You
well.
know,
So,
I'm trying,
yeah,
but definitely through life experience, things change because you learn.
yeah.
Because I think when you're younger, you have this idealistic, romantic
Mm.
view that maybe movies put inside of your head, and you're always dreaming like, yes, I'm gonna find my soulmate. Oh yeah, it's gonna be romantic. We're gonna be together forever. We're gonna get married. We're gonna have a family. Like you think
Yeah,
that that's
yeah,
gonna happen on the
absolutely.
first date, whoever you meet that you fall in love with. When in reality, then reality kicks in.
Mm.
You know what I mean? There are very
Yeah,
few people that are lucky that have met their sweethearts young and grow old
yeah.
together. And believe me, I am envious of that because I would have loved to find the one from a young age and just
Mm.
grow together.
Yeah,
But unfortunately, that is a very rare
yeah.
case. And even though, like, when I was young, I did have a relationship, I could have got married and stuff, but I didn't because I wanted to explore the world and travel.
Mm.
And so I left that person behind. And we're still friends 20 years later. But I think, I would have lived a different life. I wouldn't have been a Bollywood actress. I wouldn't have traveled the world and seen and experienced life to the fullest. Like my mom always says, she's like, you're like an 80-year-old because you lived so
Yeah.
fast and you've experienced life, things that people didn't experience in such a small amount of time.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful for it because maybe I can share my wisdom with other
Mm.
people or be of service to others who need guidance. Um, but this relationship was amazing. There was nothing wrong. We
Mm.
actually could have gotten married and had a family, but I think the desire to travel was so strong, and he didn't want to travel. He didn't even have a passport. Even to this day,
Okay.
I'm like, did you ever get a
Oh my
passport? Like, did you get your passport? I have like my passports are like libraries, like encyclopedias. So I think that I don't regret that decision.
God.
Obviously, I've had other relationships that were ups and downs and rocky or weren't a good fit, but I learned so much from every relationship, which I'm very grateful. Um, if I stayed with him, I would have had a regular life, been married with kids, which is fine. Absolutely. There's nothing wrong with that life. The small things in life are very beautiful as well. And it's your perception and how you look at it.
True.
Some might say, oh my God, you're so lucky. You have no kids. You enjoy life. You're this, you're that.
Mm.
And then I also look at them and say, wow, you're so lucky. You're married. You have a great husband. You have a beautiful family. It's so much stability. So, so it's nothing that's right or wrong or good or bad. It's
Mm.
your perception. So I learned that I cannot be envious of someone's life that is married with children and settled, because they also could be envious of me.
Yeah.
I can be grateful for my life, and I can say, yes, I still have the opportunity to have that.
Yeah.
And if I don't have that, that is still okay. Like, I'm not going to be upset about it. I'm a great person. I'm a woman still. I'm still living a fulfilling and happy life, just in a
Absolutely.
different way.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I feel like there's a lot of pressure on women to get married and have kids, but in reality, yes, there was maybe 1 year of my life that I cried a lot because I
Mm.
wished, because I saw all my friends married with kids, and they look so happy. But that 1 year disappeared quickly because I asked my friends for the honest truth. And let me tell you, it's not as happy as you think it is.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Every single or married with kids both have their ups and downs. It's how you look at it, and it's what you want
Yeah.
and how you want to live your life. So after knowing that, I have I don't hold on to anything, which also feels amazing, by the
Mm.
way. And I know a lot of Indian women, I'm American, but I'm still a woman. But I've been in India and I see how much pressure parents put on you to get married or kids and stuff like that. And I'm like, wow. And so young, 20s.
Yes.
Like, do
That's
you
true.
even know? Like, you don't even know who you are yet. Like, to be honest, like, you don't know who you are and you don't feel your best until you're in your late 30s.
Yeah.
And doctors say, oh, you're too old when you get to that. But it's not true. And with technology, we have the ability, to have kids later. My grandmother had my mom at 46.
Wow.
You
Okay.
know what I mean? My
Yeah.
mom had me at 30, 31. So, like,
Mm.
that's still young to me. But my grandma, 46, that's old. Compared, like, people would say that
Yeah.
today.
Yeah.
Like, oh,
Yeah.
that's old. But it's not, because so many people are having kids later, and now you can freeze your eggs and do IVF and stuff. And I think it's great because, like, we're able to have our independence and make our own money, so we don't have to compromise our happiness
Mm.
to get married so fast, maybe to a man that's not even good for us. Like, you should not settle for someone that's not good, that's abusive or mean or doesn't treat you with respect. Like, no way, no way, no way.
Yeah. But today, do you have something that you would definitely look for? Any like red flags, like you said, that you not let go past you?
Yes, yes. Like, I made a lot of mistakes where I stayed in relationships longer than I should because I'm the giver. I'm the one who
Yeah.
tries to fix things. I'm the one who always self-reflects and says, oh, what can I do better? When in reality, when you're in a partnership, anything, business, family, anything, it takes two people. You should not be the only one carrying the burden. And at the same time, because it takes two people, I'm not saying other people were bad or whatever, or it's also my fault too, because it takes two to tango. And sometimes you're just not a match, like one relationship, we weren't intellectually compatible, like they didn't have the bigger vision. Like I have a big vision of things I want to do and explore. They didn't have that. They had a very small mind. Then there was another one that didn't make, their career wasn't as good as mine. And then they tried to squish you down because their ego got in the way.
Yeah.
And I just watched Jug Jug Geo and I was like, oh my gosh, like I recognize psychology of the man that is so upset that his wife is doing so much better.
Absolutely.
Actually, there's nothing wrong in the relationship. It's just his ego that he cannot find the way to let go of the ego and be supportive. So, you meet all sorts of people, but unfortunately, not everyone grows and is aware that they're doing that. So then the relationship doesn't work. But if you stay too long in a relationship, then that's also your fault. Like, why are you there? Like, you're right. You should identify the red flags and know we as women, which I know many women think we could change people, but we cannot. Only can change yourself. Anyway, it's very hard for you to change yourself. How can you change someone else? That's what I'm trying to say.
Thank you so much, Nargis. It was lovely having you.
Thank you. Nice to talk to you.
Subscribe to Midday India. Get direct notifications on all our videos by clicking on the bell icon.